Chrissy Teigen, A Very Sinking Narcissist, Part 5. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. In earlier parts of this series, I have set out for you the evidential basis for the finding that Chrissy Teigen is a narcissist. And now you are able to view all of her behaviours, her actions, the things that she says, the things that she doesn't do, through the lens of narcissism, to enable you to understand precisely why she does as she does, guided and aided by your excellent narrator, providing you with unrivalled analysis of such an individual, as I have done throughout the various constituent parts of the A Very series. One of the things that Chrissy Teigen has done is go to her blog for the purpose of issuing some kind of mea culpa. This is well worth reviewing for the purposes of dissecting what is really going on. What is really meant by these words? Remember, she is an unaware narcissist, so her narcissism makes her feel and think in a particular way, so that she honestly believes that what she is saying is true, is genuine, because if her narcissism didn't do that, it wouldn't be effective. The narcissism makes her believe that she is contrite, that she believes that she's being humble and apologetic. Of course, her narcissism isn't particularly well evolved, and it's still rather rough around the edges. Not that she would notice, but of course an expert such as I, and growing experts such as you, dear listeners, will be able to recognise where the narcissism hasn't quite got it right, and that she engages in behaviour, comment, which just goes to demonstrate what she's doing. Often people would talk about that perhaps as failing to read the room, or being tone deaf, or being obtuse or obnoxious. It's the narcissism that's on display. But now, as a consequence of understanding what she is, we can peel back what has been written, look underneath the bonnet, and I can explain it all for you. So strap yourself in, because it's a very interesting analysis of what is really being meant by what she's writing. Remember, her unconscious narcissism is driving these behaviours with regard to the pursuit of the prime aims, fuel, control, character traits, and residual benefits. And I'm going to read what she has written and then explain what's really going on with regard to sections of what has been written by Chrissy Teigen. Hi all. It has been a very humbling few weeks. Pity play for the purposes of assertion of control. I'm not humble, I'm incapable of it. I know I've been quiet, and Lord knows you don't want to hear about me. False humility, and then hypocrisy, because although I'm saying that you don't want to hear about me, what am I next going to do? I'm going to write all about me. Blatant hypocrisy from the off. But I want you to know, sense of entitlement, I've been sitting in a hole of deserved global punishment, pity play. The ultimate, grandiosity, sit here and think about what you've done. Not a day, not a single moment has passed where I haven't felt the crushing weight of regret for the things I've said in the past. Grandiosity, pity play, she doesn't experience regret, and I'm pretty certain, in fact, I am certain, that there will have been repeated moments where she hasn't contemplated anything that she's said in the past. Instead, it will have come up occasionally as a consequence of her being reminded of those behaviours, either by people talking about it in her inner circle, or if she happens to peruse various news articles or goes on the internet. But it's very simple. She hasn't felt the crushing weight of regret at all. She doesn't experience regret. She merely thinks she does, because the narcissism makes her believe this. As you know, a bunch of my old awful exaggeration tweets resurfaced. I'm truly ashamed of them. Lie. As I look at them and understand the hurt they caused, I have to stop and wonder, how could I have done that? She doesn't think that at all. She's merely motivated by her narcissism to write that because it gives the appearance of genuine reflection. That is absent. She's a narcissist. I've apologised publicly to one person, Facade management, but there are others, and more than just a few, who I need to say I'm sorry to. I'm in the process of privately reaching out to the people I insulted. So why are you telling us that? If it's private, get on with it and do it. She may well not do that at all, and therefore it's a lie, or she is doing that as part of an assertion of control over those individuals. But the fact that she feels compelled to tell everybody else that she's doing this, rather than just getting on and doing it, is a nod to facade management and the need to assert control over the reader. It's like my own version of that show, My Name is Earl! ! Grandiosity, I'm likening my situations to a fictionalised programme that was very popular, and also I've just completely undermined any apparent sincerity that I was exhibiting by saying, hey look, I'm doing something that's like a show. And that shows the crassness of the way that her narcissism operates. She thinks it's appropriate to throw a joke in there, in the same way that she thought it was appropriate to tell a 16-year-old girl that she should kill herself. I understand that they may not want to speak to me. No, you don't. You've been told that's the case, and a degree of cognitive empathy suggests that it may be the case. However, you're still going to contact them anyway because of your rampant sense of entitlement, lack of boundary recognition, need to assert control, and the need to manage the facade that operates to a degree with you. I don't think I'd like to speak to me, false humility. The real truth in all of this is how much I actually cannot take confrontation. Lie, pitying. In a way, there's an accuracy. She can't take confrontation because, of course, it's a threat to control, but she doesn't mean it in that sense because she's unaware of it. What she's actually saying is, I'm not really a horrible person. I don't really like confrontation, so please don't judge me. But if they do, I'm here, and I will listen to what they have to say while apologising through sobs. Again, making it all about her. I'll listen to you, but actually, it's about me because I'm the one that's apologising and I'm crying, so pity play, feel sorry for me. If you want to use your chuck bucket, please go ahead now. There'll be a brief pause to enable you to do so and regain your composure. There is simply no excuse for my past horrible tweets, but I'll make one anyway. My targets didn't deserve them. So why did I do it in the first place? Well, of course, because of your sense of entitlement, your need to assert control, your lack of boundary recognition, and your absence of emotional empathy, Chrissy Teigen. No one does, but I still went ahead and did it because I'm a hypocrite. Many of them needed empathy, kindness, understanding and support, not my meanness masquerading as a kind of casual, edgy humour, but you still went ahead and did it anyway, and you didn't just do it once, you did it repeatedly. I was a troll, full stop. No, you're a narcissist. And I'm so sorry. False contrition. I want to go a little further here, thinking of those I've hurt, and friends I've disappointed. Not because I genuinely have any emotional empathy for those individuals, but it's purely because my control over them is being threatened, and therefore I must trot out these mealy-mouthed episodes of false contrition. When I first started using social media, I had so much fun with it. Of course you did. You were asserting control over people and you were drawing fuel from them. It was all good gravy. I made jokes, that's a matter of opinion, random observations. Think of all the engineers working day and night to develop this amazing new platform and technology, connecting people all over the world to learn, create and find kindred spirits. And I used it to snark at some celebrities. I suspect that somebody else has inserted that as something for her to write. Grandiosity, talking about the size of the platform. In reality, I was insecure, immature, and in a world where I thought I needed to impress strangers to be accepted. No, you didn't think that at the time at all. You just did as you did because you thought that it was funny, you thought that it was great, because your narcissism made you see it that way, so that you asserted control over these people through malign hoovers. Now, when your narcissism recognises that your control over many, many people is being threatened, you adopt this apparent self-reflection, which is not genuine. If there was a pop culture pylon, I took to Twitter to try to gain attention and show off what I at the time believed was a crude, clever, harmless quip. The fact that you thought telling a 16-year-old girl to kill herself was harmless demonstrates that you have no emotional empathy. I thought it made me look cool and relatable if I poked fun at celebrities. No, you didn't. You're saying that now with the benefit of hindsight, caused by your narcissism to say that. Again, at the time, you did it unconsciously to assert control and draw fuel. Consciously you did it because you honestly believed that those individuals deserved it, and you thought it was entertaining to be nasty to these individuals. Now, confronted with some of the things that I said, I cringe to my core. No, you don't. Your narcissism makes you think that you cringe to your core. It makes you think that you look at it that way in order to cause you to say these things to make it look like you're contrite. False contrition. Get your chuck buckets ready again, listeners. I'll honestly get sharp stabbing pains in my body. Bullshit. Pity play. Randomly remembering my asshole past. No, you don't. And I deserve it. False. Martyrdom. Words have consequences, and there are real people behind the Twitter handles I went after. Absolutely. That's why you did it. Because real people are there to be controlled. Real people give you fuel. I wasn't just attacking some random avatar, but hurting young women. Some who were still girls, who had feelings. How could I not stop and think of that? Very easily. Your narcissism didn't allow you to do so. Why did I think there was some invisible psycho-celebrity formula, word salad, that prevents anyone with more followers from experiencing pain? How did I not realise my words were cruel? Because you're a narcissist. What gave me the right to say these things? Your sense of entitlement. I wasn't mean in my everyday life. Oh, so that's all right then. Except hypocrisy. You were mean in your everyday life, because it wasn't somebody else sending those messages, Chrissy Teigen. It was you. And that was your everyday life, because you were prolific on Twitter. You were repeatedly sending those messages to people. More than once, someone would come up to me and say, "You're so much nicer in person." Oh, good, let's make it all about you and immediately forget about this so-called apology. Why was that not a huge red flag? But I took it in and tossed it aside. I did book signings where girls would call me a badass bitch. And I'd stretch my arm towards them as they walked away, looking at my friends and saying, "I promise I'm not." Of course you did. Those individuals were accurately assessing your unpleasant character, Chrissy Teigen, and your narcissism rejected that because it can't allow you to see that that's the case, because it would threaten your control, and therefore it caused you to hypocritically state, "I promise I'm not," to your friends, because your narcissism was concerned that the comment about you being called a badass bitch would threaten your control over your friends, so therefore it caused you to issue a false promise. At the time, I just didn't get it. No, because you didn't need to, because your narcissism wouldn't allow it. Believe me, I get it now. Still, you actually don't, and the content of this so-called apology already demonstrates this. However, your narcissism is now apparently giving you some insight, but it's not. All it's doing is causing you to create the appearance of an apology, the appearance of contrition, the appearance of reflection and insight for the purposes of assertion of control. In part 6, I will continue with the breakdown and analysis of this. I'm giving you a break also because, of course, you need to wipe away the vomit as a consequence of listening to this self-indulgent horseshit. Join me in part 6 for further analysis.